bad to hear all this noise. 1 second. Oh yeah, my bad. I plugged it in again. Hey, we're working on it. Boo. Okay, so I made some changes to the code, and I'm gonna debug it. Well, not debug it too much. I'm gonna, I have to test something regarding the note detection. So I'm gonna tweak that real quick. See how long it takes anyway. I just need to test something because I changed around the code again. So I'm trying to get this functional on Windows, but the Mac computer still has better performance. So I'm just gonna let that slide. Gonna probably stream with the Mac in a minute. But there are some things I have to test real quick before I get into the actual playing. Such as I need to test the note detection because I did make some changes to that. And I haven't tested it out. So I need to launch the program with note detection enabled. Plug in the instrument. Okay, now it's detected. I just need to do some basic note detection tests with the basic chair here. So I'm just going to get set up real quick. Maybe not real quick, maybe a couple minutes. You can't see it because of the way the camera's angled, but I have a guitar. You're going to hear it in a second. I just need to do some simple note detection. That is, if I could plug the guitar in. So just simple note detection. I don't even hear it. I don't have the right headphones on. Let's go to the tuner, make sure it's in tune. Okay, just go to the sustain test. I'm expecting crashes, worst case scenario. Although I didn't experience many crashes. Okay, I'm just gonna play this a couple times. Don't play that. Don't play that. I know it should miss it. Try again. So I'm gonna miss I'll hit one of the notes only. It got 2. Why does it say 2? 3, 4. Of course it's laggy. It gave me 5 before I even did 5. Why did it give me 2? That's so weird. It should give me 1. Is it because of the... I think I know what's going on. Let me make a quick code change. Ignore the lag in the FPS. Let me just try one thing here, and again. Just hit the first one. Wow, no. Alright, screw it. I'm just gonna play on the Mac. Yeah, if you think it's City of Heroes, that's my bad. Because the last game I was playing was City of Heroes. It's not so easy to change on doing the restream. It's more like software and programming. Yeah, usually I do, or last time I did play City Heroes, so I had it on City Heroes stream. I'll stream City Heroes again, but I just haven't been in the mood, just honestly. I'll get there. Thanks for your time, regardless. This is a boring music stream, so I understand. Yeah, no problem. 77777. Yeah, City of Heroes is awesome. I don't blame you. It's a game that's almost 20 years old now. What are you talking about? I could offer you guitar only. I don't know what you're talking about. You're like speaking in foreign language over there. Okay, bring out the Mac. So the note accuracy, we'll have to see how it goes in this version. Version 0.70, no, version 0.7p. You know, I'm starting to branch into C++. For the, oh no, why did I hit that button? Okay, for the performance sake. Pygame, Python, I don't understand why it's so slow in Windows. Too many wires. So Windows computer to record and stream, and a Mac computer to show the smooth Pygame movement. I have like 70 sessions I gotta render for SoundCloud and 30 I gotta render for YouTube. Just gonna add another session to that list. Alright, I'm hooking up the Mac right now. So I changed the logic of how the code works to an extent, trying to improve the performance. Let me switch guitars and stuff. But the way I switched it is fascinating. You know how you write code and you just get it working functional, and then over time improve it? That's what I did. Like I had each note as a separate object in a chord. So if you have 3 notes in a chord, you have 3 different objects. Now I merged that to one object with multiple rectangles. This is SDL wrapped in Pygame, Python. 1 second, I'm gonna set up, move a chair, grab a guitar, whatever else. Give me a second. For my 0 viewers who are listening. We're approaching the 2-year anniversary of this project in about 2 or 3 days, which I have countless GitHub branches on GitHub on the private repo going back, sorted by date, and you can see all the different versions that I went through. In this version, like I said, I changed the logic so that each single note, so there's a single note with a sustain or a staccato, and then there's chord 2 note and chord 3 note. So you know, if you have a two-note chord, it's one object with two rectangles. Three-note chord is, one object with three rectangles. And it's interesting how I wrote the code. So I wrote the code to have single note object have a bass and sustain. If it's a staccato, it's a really short sustain. And the second note is a child of the first note. Like in terms of classes, right? Inheritance, programming design, 101. I didn't plug in too many wires going on here. I gotta plug in the cord that shares this monitor to the Windows computer, plug in the power, plug in the amp, plug in the guitar to the computer. So this is the output of my interface going to a USB to my Mac, so I could do note detection, whether I hit or miss each note, so I could do dynamic tempo. So each of my 4 USB-C slots on my Mac are occupied. Mouse, screen, power, USB, guitar. Oh, I need this guy to convert USB to USB-C. And I need to restart the program so that it detects the guitar. You can tell it doesn't detect the guitar because there's no score text. Right here it should be saying score text. I don't have the exe for this version, so I gotta go in Python, PyCharm, and load it up. It didn't detect it that time, so I gotta unplug it and replug it in. And then try again. Score 0, there we go. So you see in the chat, found Scarlett Solo USB. Although it's Rocksmith USB, I didn't change the print. So it should detect the guitars now. And I just gotta get my other wire. How many wires have I got here? The other wire for my headset so I could actually hear what I'm doing. Wherever that is. Oh, found it. So, oh, is that even the right one? Great. Oh, it's a knot. Why are you in a knot? I would not like to have you in a knot. Wires and the concept of breathing. You ever hear of that phrase before? It's like I can't breathe without my wires. I can't breathe with them. Okay, so headphones, good to go. And let's see how this goes. Finally all set up 20 minutes in. The performance, the note accuracy, let me test the note accuracy again. I gotta get out the guitar again. Was 9 guitars. I'm gonna need to keep track of inventory when I change the strings. Alright. Should be in tune, but I gotta adjust the volume. Gotta plug it in. It's like, why am I not getting any signal? I don't think I have any tones set up. Damn tremolo bridge, fluctuating the tuning. That was in tune a second ago. Oh wait, E flat. No wonder. I don't want E flat. My tremolo's not adjusted for that. Gosh darn it. Because when I come to the screen, it like automatically goes to the next tempo sometimes. And it doesn't always do that. It's kind of frustrating. I dread the idea of writing this again in C++. My goodness. It took so much effort to get it in Python Pygame. That's why I'm just playing the Mac at the moment. Alright, I'm just going to do a test for the sus. It's a sus test. No, it's sustain. Alright, I'm just going to play 1, the very first one, and it's going to say 2. See? The next one. Well, the first one's 2. And yeah, I know the freaking... the change I made. Look at the chord. You see the 6th note, the 6th string, a little off, but that's okay. I'm gonna fix it later. Boring scales. Well, I'm gonna get ready. Gonna go AFK 5-10 minutes. Come back, put the headset on. Not gonna chat much unless someone says something. So it's gonna be a boring stream, like any other. See ya in a little bit. We'll try this guitar out. Don't know how long I'll play it. Let's see, let me put the camera down a little bit if I can. Why does the camera settings always hide, huh? That's so annoying. Configure video. Oh, you don't want to show me the configure video button. I see how it is. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, God. It's nowhere to be found. Configure video, where is it? Oh, I had to enable the camera, duh. Alright, 1 second. Just add a little bit of tilt to the camera. There, a little bit of tilt. So you can see the... Oh, you can't even see the whammy bar? Barely. Alright, I don't want to play it without recording. The whole point is to record everything. Be right back in a little bit. Oh, the camera's not low down enough. Camera tilt. That should be better. Try this. That's better. Just want to see the whole guitar. The headstock, the tremolo, the tone knobs. Alright, be right back. It's gonna be a boring stream if you don't talk. So I just gotta say this. I am not a fan of Stratocasters. I know this is not a Stratocaster. It's inspired by Stratocaster as the hot rod design. It's a Strat with from Charvel. I mean, it's a Strat with hot rodded pickups, humbucker to deliver hotter than the clean tone of a Stratocaster. So Charvel is Fender's child brand, so they could use Fender's designs with no problems, such as the Stratocaster or whatever you call it. Nocaster. And this is a Charvel DK22. I don't want 24 frets. I don't want to have to relearn the fretboard. But also the tremolo. I the way the way I okay, the very first time I've ever played tremolo was on my album, three-dimensional album, on the song, the second track, Axe Murderer, and the fourth track, Orwell. And there might be one more, but those two tracks are the first time I've ever played with the tremolo. And as even though I don't play tremolo often, it's my rarest play, I do like having the tremolo in my arsenal for that moment. See, the thing about tremolos is it requires a certain note length to hit, right? So when I wrote the songs, oh, I think I broke, let's see, did I break it? Let's go back. Can I do it now? Yeah, so on that screen I couldn't change. But so when I had written my album for those songs, Orwell and Axe Murderer, I specifically prioritized note lengths that allowed enough time to use the tremolo, right? Whole notes, dotted halves, quarter quarters. Essentially just enough time to use this darn thing. Because it's difficult. And when I do use the tremolo, I just use the crap out of it. Just fluctuating the tone in a really fast way. And if I listen to the blues, B.B. King, the mayor of Bluesville, the tremolo is much more gentle. It's more of a vibrato because he doesn't have a tremolo. So you do the vibrato. Vibrato is like emulating the tremolo. But, you know, I'm thinking of playing Canon Rock because there's a session that I just rendered on my SoundCloud, session number 309, and it was nothing but Canon Rock rehearsals. I think I only had one full playthrough because Canon Rock, if you're not familiar or not aware or whatever, it's one hell of a difficult song. It goes through the whole fretboard. But I noticed the majority of it, I think, is in the 16 to 19-ish range. Up in the higher fretboard range, because I did a heat map of all the notes on the fretboard of my playthrough, and that's where it showed the most notes. An upper fretboard, above 12, 14, 17, 19, 20. My program's written to not go above 21st fret. If it goes above that, then skip it and forget it. So I think I'll play Canon Rock. Gotta set the tone, whatever that will be. I think it's gonna be overdrive and something else. Overdrive and tweed, maybe? I'm not sure. Do I want a tweed? I don't need the axe because I don't have the P90. I don't want the sure. What I want is the raw distortion. I don't want the fuzz. I might want reverb. All right, let me assign overdrive. Oh, man. Also, the thing about the Stratocaster design that I don't like, 3 pickups. I don't like the third pickup, it gets in the way. Exactly where you want to strum sometimes. But with all these obstacles, I'm still going to try it. Alright, I should set up the amps. So I got overdrive. And then we're going to get the tweed. Alright, I'm too much fun playing. So the part of this is like open string. What was it again? Alright, let me get the headset and the amp set up. I'm going to turn off the microphone. That sounds too weird. It's like flat and dry. I don't know, is it my headphones? Or is it the actual volume? Oh yeah, it's my headphones because I was mixing the other day. if you want to see my source code, that's the closest you're going to get for now is the error pointing the line number and the piece of code that broke it. And I know exactly what broke it. Because I went above a score of 10,000. So I thought, oh, I won't ever go above that score. That's a good number to stop. Here we are. First it was 15, then it was 12, and now it's 10. So I actually surpassed 10,000. So during that playthrough, I missed portions of that breakdown because I insisted on using my pinky. Like every time I go to that breakdown near the end of the song in the 9 to 12 range, going between the 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 9th fret, 10th fret, 11th fret, and that breakdown, I always battle. Do I want to use my pinky as the fret that's 2 frets away from my first finger, right? It's always a battle. Do I want to use my pinky, right, in this range? Because it's not necessary. Pinky can just go away and just use my 3rd finger, which I had the most experience with 3rd finger. But lately I've been stubborn and been like, no, I should use my pinky to practice it. But it's hard doing such precision with pinky. And that it's like it's fighting the 3rd finger in that range. Because otherwise the pinky just hangs off the edge. It's kind of weird. Like, what are you doing over there? So I went above the score cap, 10,000. I'm going to leave that bug in there for now. Just take a note of it and fix it later. Perhaps 12,000 once the answer. I'm not going to push a git branch on this version of the Mac. The Mac just pulls. But okay, one stream, one song. Feels like forever. So session 378. Taking this program pretty far, version 0.7p alpha. I just bumped up the letters by 2 within 24 hours or so. And, well, there's more. Man, my score just keeps going above 10,000, huh? Who would have thought I'd see the day? Twice in one session. Well, that's what happens when I don't fix the error and I just keep playing. So above 10,000 score, it's okay. Didn't save the note log. The reason for that logic is because there is 60 frames a second. I'm trying to cut down as many calculations as possible, such as rendering. So I cache everything before the game loop starts. And in that cache is an array of 10,000 score fonts rendered. Not ideal. And that's where we're at. It's better than rendering it in the frame mid-game. So I just got to bump up the number to 15,000 again, but I'm not going to do that right now. Just let it error out. I did enough programming. Even though it's one line change, that would mean I have to commit it, push it, which I'm not here to do right now. What else am I going to play? So the tone on this, it's kind of hit and miss, right? It's not rock and roll, it's more like crunch. And I think it's the tweed. But the Marshall, I don't feel like playing with it. And this combination of this pickup, I don't get people who like strats. I'm trying, really trying.
Thank you.
So it turns out the reason for the crappy tone for some of the playthrough is the freaking volume knob. Turned it down by accident and forgot to turn it back on. With that said, let's see what else there is. So session 378, so far so good. Habit of writing the track names in Ableton now, so when I listen back later, 70 sessions away, when I'm rendering, I go, what is this? Okay, let's see what's next. So that was fun. Rover, the Rover, it probably matters. Hideaway. Hideaway, obviously, I lowered the tempo, average 70 BPM. Otherwise, it's practically impossible for me right now because I don't know the song well enough to be confident in it, to play it that fast. And I noticed the score was 0. I broke it somehow. Wondering what I did there. Let's see. See, it's just not getting detected. Go back to pitch. Now it is. I wonder if something happened. I mean, it didn't crash, but I didn't check the terminal. If there's like some, because this is a background thread for the whole guitar input stuff. Each note I assign the frequency, whatever, and I play it to determine if I hit or missed a note. And then I go back to that JSON to alter the tempo dynamically. Oh, I didn't even tune it. Maybe 1 or 2 more. Let's see what I got. Or I'll stop here. I don't know. Let's do at least 1 more. I don't know what. So there's something happening in this version of the program where I didn't adjust the starting position width of the 3-note chords that much. I just got it functional because I transitioned the logic to a different method of having one object draw each note rather than have 3 objects. And in that transition, I didn't adjust the positioning and the width of the 3-note chord. So there's something there going on. I don't remember the chord offhand, the name offhand, but it's the first string on a 5th fret and the 7th and the 6th string on the 5th fret and the 5th and 4th string on the 7th fret. Like that typical chord, whatever. Because the problem is the 7th fret, 5th string, and 4th string both have the same width, so they override each other. So you only see one of the strings right now. I know what the problem is, where to fix it. It's just, it's a lot of writing to get this to where it's at. Hence the version 0.7p alpha. So, we're getting there. It's just too fun. It's hard to stop. I should stop though, because it hurts physically. And that's it. Otherwise, I keep playing. It's really fun. Like, even though, of course, I don't hit all the notes 100%, obviously. Some of them are really hard. Let's see, 66% accuracy. Hey, I'll take it. It's nearly a pass. I think I passed. I got down the intro rhythm riff pretty good to an extent. Got eyeball it enough. And yeah, so this has been a Charvel DK22 made in Mexico. Hot rodded. That position was on the bridge pickup. 5 different positions. I was juggling the tone the whole time, but it takes some getting used to. It's okay. Just play around with it a bit. And I'm just going to end the session here. So 378. This has been the Song Creator Vision Python PyGuitar Pro private programming project. Written in, I was going to say written in C++, but not yet. In progress anyway. C++ may have better speed on the Windows computer. Using the same logic with STL, two-dimensional. We'll see how it goes. But so far I'm still on Python. Still getting there to an extent. It's playable on the Mac after all, using Python. But oh well, I'm going to end this session. See